Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today what I want to do is talk a little bit about affirmation campaigns. I have long described how you're running an affirmation campaign and you're navigating. If you're navigating, you want change, right? Or you like your life and you want to stay the straight and narrow, correct? But if the moment you start deviating from the direction you're on, you're going to experience change. That's what you want, right? But people are like, oh my God, I didn't expect this kind of change. Yeah, you're going to get changes. That's the way it works. And what I want to talk here about is not so much these kinds of changes where, all right, you're starting an affirmation campaign and suddenly all kinds of shit breaks down. That's not the kind of changes I want to talk about in this particular video. Basically, I want to talk about adjustment changes. Adjustment changes may happen during dwells or may actually happen during the campaign. Adjustment changes are different than the mega changes that you actually force when you do a course correction. When you're doing your affirmation campaign and you say, okay, I want this direction in my life, and you're going to start having all kinds of stuff. But adaptation changes, adaptive changes are what we're talking about in this particular instance, okay? And they're a little bit different, okay? Now, adaptive changes are changes that are associated with a fixing, a fixing of the things you want. You guys probably understand this. If you're a mechanic, you install an engine in a car, you bolt it down, everything's connected, then you run the engine for a while, then you go out to make sure everything's tight and everything, make sure the belts are running and everything. It's fixing things. You're tightening things down. Or in other instances, that's the only one that comes to mind right now. So you've done changes, you've asked for things, and you've done your little telltales, whether it's ice cream, or it's music that you've wanted, or some other thing that you wanted. And you've noticed perhaps that some of the things that you asked for materialized, but not in the same way that you expected. Let's suppose that you wanted a Bugatti sports car, all right? And then you discover that you ended up getting a scale model of a Bugatti sports car, okay? That's an extreme example, and I've never experienced that particular example, but the point is, sometimes what you ask for, you get something similar. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get that Bugatti sometime in the future, but it just means that echoes of that gift, that target, that goal, you're going through those echoes. As I've talked about, that people have multiple bodies. This is a well-known esoteric understanding. You have the causal plane, you have the ethereal plane, you've got all this stuff. DM can talk more about that. I'm not all that well versed in it, just to say that we have various selves that are associated with consciousness. And then we have a higher self, I call Manted GP, and then a very high self, Manted Prime. And all these come in shades, like bodies. Well, that's the same thing with goals. You have a goal, say, to have a house in the mountains with a nice bubbling stream and a really big garage and a big porch, okay? That's your goal. And you're pretty specific. You have little pictures up on the wall of what you like and everything. And you really know what you want and you vocalize it. Now, that target isn't just a thing. It's a concept that's sitting out there on your terrain, on your template map, your worldwide template map. It's sitting out there, and there's various bodies of it. The solid physical body is sitting out there, and then there's a ethereal body and a lighter body, and there's like these various shells. Okay, and as you near your goal, you're going to start piercing through these outer shells. The smallest outer shell, and then you're going to get closer to the inner outer shell, then you're going to get closer and closer until it actually manifests. For the most part, you may not even notice these things going on. They might manifest as a sign that actually, as you drive by it every day, you see this billboard that actually shows this nice porch. It might manifest as a neighbor having this very, very nice big porch and having a nice glider or a swing on it. It might manifest as this particularly large garage that your friend of a friend has. These other elements are what you're going to experience. Now, as you experience these things, there's going to be lockdown events. You want to lock these things down because they're going to result in change. You know you're on the right track whenever you see your neighbor's porch that you kind of really like, and you go up there and you touch the porch. You feel the porch, you sit on the swing, and then you discover that your toaster burned out and you have to buy a new toaster. Cause effect. You're going through these outer layers of your goals, and it's causing a little bit of adjustment discomfort. Adjustment discomfort is not something that you can actually say, well, I expect this discomfort, but you're going to start experiencing it and you won't know why, and that's why. That's exactly why, guys. You're going to start experiencing this discomfort. So there's really, actually that's kind of what I'm going through right now, and a couple of you out there are going through that too. So don't you all panic. It's a good thing. So let's kind of rehash some of the concepts here. A goal that you have in your affirmation campaign consists of, it looks like a slushy snowball. The hard ice on the inside is the physical, tangible goal that you want. And then you have cushy snow surrounding it, and then kind of melted water on the outside and a little steamy vapor past that. That's your goal. And as you get closer to the goal and your hand holds that snowball, you're going to pass through the cold air. Then you're going to touch the cold, snowy surface. And then you're going to get closer and closer and touch the wet, harder rock ice on the inside. That's exactly how it's going to be. And as you get closer and closer to these goals, you will see these manifestations of those outer levels in different ways. And as you touch or experience those manifestations, you'll see some little bit of discomfort, and I call that discomfort adjustment discomfort. Adaptive adjustment discomfort. I really have to start putting down and being more formal in some of these terms, but that gives you an idea of exactly what's going on. And I think it's a good thing, and I think you should be aware of it. So don't go off on a tangent, getting too upset with stuff. And just remember that whatever you vocalize in your affirmation campaigns will come true. The question is timing. And the timing is a function of how far out they are in a realistic understanding. Sometimes your goals require a personality change. You don't think they do, but maybe it does. And you have to adapt to those personality changes. If your goal is to be, I don't know, a rich, powerful baron, like a rail baron or a software guru, you're going to have to get to be a little harsher in how you deal with things. Keep that in mind, right? And so that's the idea, that's the concept, and that's the narrative. What does this mean to you? Well, first of all, I have described what a goal is. It's a shaped thought. A goal is a shaped thought. I also showed the bodies of that thought shape. The crusty inside, the physical manifestation, and the outer layers. I also described here how you will experience, as you get closer and closer to that goal, how you will experience manifestations as you go through the outer layers, the outer boundaries of that thought shape, that thought form. And as each time you go through it, it's going to be a change, and that's going to have a negative. With every positive, there's going to be a negative. Not, boy, those are bad terms. There's going to be consequences. As you get towards something you like, there's going to be something that might not be as nice. There might be a dog barking, a whole bunch. There might be, your grass might grow a little bit taller than it normally does. Okay? You know, there will be different things that will manifest, but don't get too worried about it. If there's one thing there's one thing you guys got to realize is whenever something bad happens to you, it means something good is gonna come soon. Doesn't matter if you're in Africa, in a prison right now, or something else. It's going to be something really good, and it's a balanced magnitude. It's a balanced magnitude, is what it is. It'll be a balanced magnitude. That's a fact. So, as discomforting as it is, the good stuff is on its way, because everything kind of goes on a balance. Keep in mind, though, it's not just your thoughts that you're dealing with, but it's the thoughts of all the shadow peoples around you. But as long as you're doing a positive work, you're neutral or positive, you've got nothing to worry about. It's when you start being malevolent, or doing physical bad works, or being selfish, you'll cause some problems. And it's hard to tell the difference. Earlier in this discussion, I talked about how if you wanted to become, say, as Baron, that you had to get a little bit harsher in doing some stuff. And it doesn't mean that you're going to go killing people or anything, but how you handle things might be handled differently than what you used to. I'm going to give you a real life example. So we had a typhoon last week. And right in front of my ghost city, it's a walled city, right in front of the gate, there is this little kitty, and it is just screaming its little heart out. My heart is going thump, thump, thump. I come on over, but you know, I can't take care of a cat. A couple of reasons. Number one is I got a small place. Number two, I got a little child. Okay? All right? And it's just, I just can't do it right now. If I lived in the States, no problem. I'd pick this cat up, take care of it. If it was some other place, some other time, but right now I cannot. Unless that cat wants to live inside a small porch in a cement building, you know, it's just not going to be a life for the kitty. So I went over to the cat, and poor little guy had his little paw, he was lame, you know, broken bone. Somebody had been feeding him. He looked healthy. A little kitten, but he looked healthy. So it was somebody's taking care of him. And that little kitten was crying his little eyes out, but I couldn't do anything about it. I literally couldn't. I could override all my common sense and with emotion take care of the little kitty, but I couldn't. I had to go by him like 4 times. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I at least got to give him some food. And I swear to God, that little kitten was projecting to me. Come get me. Just like throwing this at me. Come get me. Come get me. Come get me. My little heart's going, oh. But I can't do anything. So I went over, I took care of my little kid, I got everybody set up, I got everybody in bed, and that was it. Okay, now I can go over. So I went out and I took some food. I was going to feed the kitty. I went down, and the kitty's gone. But so's all the people who were running the businesses on the side. So I wonder if they brought the kitty with them. And the kitty just would sit there in front, but I don't know the story of the cat. For me, looking at this big event, I had to override my propensity of being a caring nurse for some creature in distress, for a higher good and a higher responsibility. And it just tore my little heart to pieces. On the second level, you have to say, well, the cat's projecting at me. Why is this cat projecting at me? It might be one of my former cats that's saying, hey, I'm here and I want to be with you. And again, that makes it even harder, doesn't it? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, cats can move in and out of the physical body. Their souls are matrixed. Or at even another level, one of the workers there just brought their cat there, hoped somebody would pick it up. Nobody's picking it up, so they scooped it back up, took it home. Why do I bring up this little story? The reason why I bring up this story is because keep in mind the thoughts that you have and the desires that you have cause manifestations in your life. And some of these manifestations are like an on-off switch, a A-B switch, a red-blue switch, a switch, and you have to make a determinative action. In this case, I did something I never would have done before. I said, I'm sorry, kitty, but I cannot take care of you at this time. Absolutely not. Positively, absolutely not. And so I didn't. Still gives me heartburn thinking about that, because it's my natural inclination to be helpful to others. And you too will have these A-B switches, these on-off switches that you'll have to deal with as life moves on. Especially when you get closer to some of your goals. They will be unexpected. It may be to help another. It may be to be a Rufus. It may be not to be a Rufus. A-B switches. Okay? So, if you were an engineer and you're looking at a control panel of your soul, how it configures your consciousness, there's these switches. And sometimes events causes these switches to go up and off and on and change volumes and all kinds of things. And during that period of time, you should be aware of how it manifests. So, as you get closer to your goals and you go through these multiple layers and you get closer to your goals, these switches will become more and more pronounced. Yeah. It's not that simple, is it? You can't always say, well, I'm just going to be the Rufus in all cases. It doesn't work that way. In general, be the Rufus and help others. But you have to be true to your overriding purposes and why you're here. I hope to hell that you guys understood this little bit of stuff that I threw out to you, because it's very, very important and very, very deep. Believe me, people, I trust in you. Have a great one. And know always, always that I trust in you.